Jordan episode number 23.
Oh,
is it gonna live up to that intro?
No.
Jordan episode 23 of No One Asked Us. I'm Craig Choate. That's Logan Lee. Follow us at all our social media channels at No One Asked Us Pod on Twitter. I'm at Craig W. Choate. He's at the Logan Lee. Follow, like, subscribe our YouTube channel. Share this wherever you can. Get some more ears to listen to our beautiful voices.
what's up, Craig?
What's up? We were just talking right before I hit record here. Logan's words. I'm really excited for this one. So
I am.
Logan's gonna have a lot to say today.
I am. I'm very excited. And we'll get to it in a minute, but yeah. I'm very excited for this episode. We got a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. We got a long run down here. It is Monday evening, we'll call it. That weird time where it's not really afternoon, but it's not really evening. You don't know what to call it. So I'm calling it Monday evening. This will be out on Tuesday morning. We're going to get to some college conference realignment. I think is going to start the show. And then
Stoked.
I think all the major conferences had their media days this week. So it's kind of the kickoff to college football. So we'll talk a little bit of that. An MLB team will no longer be called what we've called them for our entire lives. We'll talk about that. Also some trade deadline stuff, some professional stuff, NBA finals, the draft, football. Olympics are underway. We'll discuss a little bit, and then some entertainment with a movie that Logan watched and a TV show that we have talked about. If you watch this show or listen, you know what we're talking about. We're going to talk about it every week on this show. So we'll finish with Big Brother. So hopefully we get to all that. That's our plan. But we'll see how long it goes here. But Logan, it is Monday afternoon. How was your weekend? As we always start the show.
Oh, Craig, my weekend was great. Had a nice Saturday. Was busy doing some stuff around the house, and then went out to the old ballpark to see comedian Fortune Feimster. You familiar with Fortune Feimster?
Never heard of her.
She's a comedian. You can find her on Netflix, but she was here in South Bend at Four Winds Field doing a comedy show Saturday night. So it was nice to get out to the ballpark and not watch baseball, but watch a comedy show. So she put on a good show, did that Saturday, and just kind of sat around the house on Sunday. So not nearly as exciting of a week as what you've had. I just want to say, I'm glad we're on the same time zone now. So that's cool. We don't have to deal with the your time or my time when we record. So tell me about your life. What's going on? Where are you at?
I'm Louisvillian.
Louisvillian?
Is that how you say that?
I have no idea. You're the one that lives there.
Relocated to Louisville, Kentucky a week ago, as this episode is going to be released. Moved Tuesday of last week. So yeah, it's been a crazy, hectic week. Moving across state lines. I think the craziest is we have a 4-month puppy. So
wondered how that was.
Moving with a puppy wasn't the easiest. But yeah, we got didn't get a big enough U-Haul. We'll say that. Did not get a big enough U-Haul. So had to make another trip Saturday.
Oh, really?
Back to Champaign. Yeah. Excuse me. To load up both of our cars. And we still don't have everything. But what's left in Champaign is just like, it could probably be thrown away stuff. But and final finishing touches before we hand that place over. So yeah, I'm now a Louisville, Kentucky resident.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, I'd rather be a Louisville fan than a Kentucky fan. So
that's fair.
So yeah, living in Kentucky now. So
I saw you were at a Bats game.
Yeah.
The Bats and the Cardinals, were they in town?
Memphis Redbirds, yeah.
Memphis Redbirds, yeah.
Yeah. The week we moved to Louisville, the Memphis Redbirds just happened to be playing the Louisville Bats, the AAA team for the Cincinnati Reds. Memphis AAA for the Cardinals. So it worked out perfect timing. Christy's cousin actually lives here. So him and his family helped us unload the truck when we got here Tuesday. And he was like, hey, we're going to the Bats game Thursday night. Do you guys want to go? And we're just like, oh yeah, of course. Like, baseball game, cool. And Thursday afternoon I looked, I was like, whoa, what are the chances that every single player on the Memphis Redbirds team has played for the Cardinals in like the last 6 months? Because the Cardinals suck and they can't stay healthy. So yeah, it was fun. Redbirds have won like 14 or 15 in a row, so they're playing really well. And yeah, it was a good time. The concession stands took 2 innings for us. A couple of kids that were with us, they were there in the 2nd, and we went back to our seats in the 6th.
Yikes.
So very short staffed, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
people there. I think it was like a little league night. So there were a bunch of kids in their little league jerseys there.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was fun. Hadn't been to a AAA baseball game in like 20 years. You don't count the Southern Illinois Miners, do you?
Well, no, that's not AAA. No, you haven't been to a AAA game or a minor league game in general.
I mean, the only minor league games that I've been to have been the Miners, the Southern Illinois Miners. So completely different. Really looking forward to going back. The bats aren't very good. Cincinnati doesn't have many top prospects in AAA right now.
Are you saying I never got you up here for a South Bend Cubs game?
I never went to a South Bend Dubs game.
What kind of friendship do we have?
A long distance friendship.
True.
But yeah, long story short, I'm living in Louisville now, and enjoying it so far. Been here a week, and a lot more to do.
I'm sure.
We'll say.
I'm sure.
A lot of restaurants. I don't think we've been to like 2 restaurants that we could previously get to this week. So a lot of new things for us. Good. But let's dive right in. Big 12 might not be around for much longer. Just today, Texas and Oklahoma announced that they are not going to be part of the Big 12 here in a couple of years. I know there's been talks about Texas leaving the Big 12 for like 20 years. They've been talking about it, but now that they finally told the Big 12, hey, we are out and we're bringing Oklahoma with us to the SEC. I don't know if that's been announced yet. They just announced that they're leaving the Big 12, right?
Correct, yes.
But yeah, they're going to the SEC. So what kind of ripple and trickle-down effects is this going to bring to college athletics? I think this is what Logan is excited about because he's been texting me a little bit about it.
I love conference realignment. Let me tell you what, man. Let me preface this by saying, like, I'm not like the world's biggest college football guy. That's just never really been my thing. I grew up an Illinois fan. They were never really all that good. They had some good teams during my childhood, but college football has never really been my thing. I still watch it. I still follow it. But I mean, I've always been more basketball, but that's really not the point. I love conference realignment. I love the restructuring. I love looking at scenarios. I was sitting at work the other day when this all came down, and I was like, oh man, I want to be able to like put this stuff together and like see what this would look like visually with all these different scenarios. And then from the Lord above, Craig puts it out on Twitter. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. This is exactly what I've been looking to visualize, to see. I'm a visual person. I want to see this stuff. And your tweet, putting that together, bravo to you. Thank you for that. I'm not sure if that's what you were looking for when you sent it out, but for me, that was perfect. So, dude, I love this stuff. I love to see how this stuff's going to shake out. I'm always looking at how conference realignment could shake up all levels of sports, not just the Power 5 schools, what it means for, the non-Power 5, what stuff like this. I mean, this won't affect like the Valley, but when that stuff happened several years ago, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't really have a reason to why that is. Mm-hmm. Now, when it really hits home and like it affects Illinois or something, I might feel differently, but I don't know. I just really enjoy this stuff. So I'm a little giddy right now just to see like what kind of changes this is gonna make, because I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I don't know that I'm as excited as Logan is about it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. What I don't like is when you have like I don't know what a good example is. Like Rutgers. Rutgers isn't a Big Ten team.
No,
like they don't fit. That's what I don't like. And I mean, Texas and Oklahoma, they fit SEC. That works. So I'm okay with it. What Logan was mentioning though was when this came out, it only took a couple minutes. I tweeted out some maps of what the Big Ten could potentially look like after this. Because there are talks that the Big Ten is going to add some of these Big 12 teams. So I tweeted out 4 different maps, one of the current Big Ten with no changes, one with a 16-team Big Ten, an 18-team Big Ten, and a 20-team Big Ten. Now, I don't think 18 or 20 is going to happen. I think if the Big Ten does anything, they just add 2, which would be Kansas and Iowa State. most likely. And we're talking about all this stuff, and our brains are trained athletically, but the Big Ten is very big on the academic side. So the
Yeah,
schools also
absolutely.
have to be an academic fit. So like the 20 team map that I tweeted out had like Oklahoma State and West Virginia and Kansas State joining. Like those aren't academic fits. So the Big
No.
Ten would have to put their academic standards aside probably to fit those schools in. But like Logan said, just fun to talk about and theorize about. I've seen a lot of people talking about like instead of these 6 power conferences, just have 4 16 team conferences and all that stuff. I think conferences are losing their luster almost in a way. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. I think the days of those days are over. The days that we grew up with, that have been around for years, of, the 10, 12 team conferences, those days are done. I don't think this is the direction we're going. As I said earlier, not being as big of a football guy, what I don't like about this stuff is how much football drives this. But I get it. That's where the money is. And I do think we're going in a direction where you might see a different structure to how this is altogether. I mean, we might go to the relegation style at some point. Like, it would not shock me if 10 years from now, like that's the type of style. I mean, 10 years maybe a stretch, but that might be like the way this goes. I think that the Big 12 was probably, I don't know. The Big 12 is going to be in some hurt because they don't have a network. That's what's driving a lot of this too, is the networks and the network dollars, whether that's the ESPN affiliation or the Fox affiliation or whatever. The SEC has their own network. Big 10 has their own network. ACC has their own network. Pac-12 has their own network. Big 12 doesn't and hasn't. Texas has had their own network, which has really been a bust, I think, for them. It doesn't really help that they haven't really been very good at football, especially the last decade. So I'm just really curious to see where this goes. I think there's talk that the Big 12 could try to stay alive by pulling in teams from like the AAC. I've seen the model that I think you kind of referenced that I saw today as well that I kind of like is essentially just disbanding the Big 12, pulling those teams, in different directions. I kind of like that idea. Now it's not all perfect and you still have teams like Cincinnati and like UCF, like Memphis, like Houston that are left out of that. But I think it's better than where we're at right now, because once, Texas and Oklahoma leave, that Big 12 there's not much there. Kansas is obviously a basketball power, but they're a non-factor in football. Iowa State's been emerging, both football and basketball, but I wouldn't really say they're a power. They're not a market that, somebody's really going to be trying to get. Oklahoma State has history of football, but that's about it. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see where this goes, and definitely, from our standpoint, how this affects the Big Ten. You mentioned Kansas and Iowa State, which I think makes the most sense. You pull two schools in from the West and kind of, expand it a little bit. I had kind of thrown out the idea of West Virginia, which I understand from an academic standpoint doesn't make sense. And from, a market doesn't really make sense. Geographically, it does. But we're also to the point now where geography is really kind of out the window, which I can understand for football. And this is another thing that I don't like how this is done, because everything is football driven. For football, it's fine. You play one game a week. If you have to travel across the country to play one conference game, it's not a big deal. But for these swimming and diving teams, or these softball teams that are traveling halfway across the country on a Wednesday night to play a doubleheader, like that's not really fair. I mean, they're having to fly and bus, and like it's not super conducive for every sport like it is for football, which I think is unfortunate. That's why I really do wish they would go just more geographically based, which is kind of like that model that we talked about with the 4 16 team conferences. That would include Notre Dame and the ACC. It's about how they did that. It's more geographically spaced. It's not coast to coast type of thing, which I think wouldn't shock me if we head that direction. I mean, I've seen this tossed around. I don't know how likely it is, but some sort of Big Ten Pac-12 merger of sorts. I don't know that really plays. But it really wouldn't shock me, just because how big the SEC is going to get here. They've already added 2 more. They're already up to 16. What if they say, hey, I don't know, fill in team A and B here? I mean, all of a sudden this is a big conference. And if you're trying to chase the SEC in terms of dollars, you got to get it from somewhere, because out in Kansas, Kansas is a nice basketball school. It's going to give you some basketball dollars, but it's not like Kansas and Iowa State are going to bring in a ton of money. I mean, you're already in. That's the thing with Rutgers. Yeah, Rutgers doesn't really seem to fit, but they're at least, in the New York City metropolitan area. So I don't know. There's a lot of factors that go into this. Money is obviously the biggest. TV rights is a big one. But hey, I mean, it's gonna lead to a lot of shaking up, and we'll just have to see where all the chips fall.
I mentioned this. It might have been like on New Year's Day or something. If there's one school that I wish the Big Ten could get, it would be Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati would be a great fit in the Big Ten. Again, academics aside, because I don't think they're an academic fit, but they're always at least relevant in basketball. Yeah. And their football program has had a really good decade. Luke Fickell and Tommy, I think was it Tommy Tuberville was there for a little bit after Auburn or before Auburn, I think. I think Cincinnati would be a great fit there, and you could have kind of the natural rivalry with Ohio State. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of dominoes to fall because of this. I think the Big 12 is going to try and survive, but I don't think they survive because
I don't know how they do.
I don't. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
These are their 2 biggest schools are leaving.
They were already trailing. They're already trailing the Big 12 or the Big 10 and the SEC. And now you just lost your best national title contender and your biggest brand. Yeah. I don't know how the Big 12 recovers and still plans to be a major player. Yeah. I mean, unless they pull the bottom half unless they go out west, far west, and pull like USC, UCLA, something along those lines. I mean, that's really the only scenario I could see where something would happen, because nobody else, they're not pulling from the SEC. They're not going to pull from the Big Ten.
Could a Boise State, North Dakota State pull?
Like Oklahoma and Texas? No.
But no. Those are, I mean,
yeah, sure.
Again, I'm thinking football.
Good football. Yeah, sure. Yeah. They're good football schools.
Yeah.
And that could ultimately, but no, like at this point, this is all about money.
Right.
This is all about money.
Right.
And I mean, those are your 2 biggest properties that just left.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what they do. I'm sure they want to survive it. I'm sure they want to figure out a way to do it, and they might try. They were already trailing desperately behind the SEC and the Big Ten, at least in terms of dollars. And now losing both of those schools, I don't see them really surviving that.
I think one linchpin in this whole thing is the school where you are located, Notre Dame. I mean,
they're not going anywhere.
Can they just join a freaking conference already?
Why? Like, okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate. If I'm Notre Dame, why would I want to join a conference? What advantage does it give me?
If you win it, you get an automatic bid to the college football playoff.
Well, that is certainly something to consider, because of this new thing. But I don't think they're worried about that at this point.
Because if Notre Dame goes undefeated, they're going to get a bid.
They're going to get in. They may not get a bye. I think that's really all the difference is at this point. It's a bye. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're Notre Dame, like, I get it. Trust me, I'm with you. I wish they would as well, and I think they should, and I think eventually they might. But Notre Dame has an agreement with the ACC, so they automatically get 5 of those games every year to help with scheduling. They're in the ACC for all the other sports, so they get to play ACC basketball. They have their own TV agreement with a national network that no other school has.
Yeah.
And they still get to keep their their relationships with Stanford and USC.
Speaking of
and
TV
Navy.
agreement, isn't Drew Brees calling their games this year?
He is.
That's a good get.
Listen, I agree with you. I wish Notre Dame would join a conference. I think it would help, and they are a linchpin in all this. I don't see a reason for them to do it. The only thing out there right now is that if the 12-team playoff happens and they go under the guidelines that they have set now, the only thing is that they would not get a bye. There's no scenario in which Notre Dame could get a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Is it ACC or bust for them, or do you think the Big Ten could pry them away?
I mean, I think the Big Ten could pry them away. I know they have a great relationship with the ACC. Geographically, the Big Ten makes sense. They're playing Big Ten hockey. Right? Yeah. They're playing Big Ten hockey. Yeah. I think the Big Ten would love to have them. I know the Big Ten would love to have them, but I don't know. I don't think it's ACC or bust. I think that that's the most likely scenario if they were to join a conference, but I don't think it's necessarily that's a guarantee. I think the Big Ten could have a shot.
It's going to be interesting. I have no idea where this is going to end. I don't know that it'll ever end. Like, I feel like we talk about conference realignment all the time. So
I think we're going in a direction where the SEC could just pull however many teams they want.
I also think it's funny that Mizzou left the Big 12 to get away from like Oklahoma and Texas, and now Oklahoma and Texas is coming to the SEC. So
did A&M, and A&M didn't even get asked about this. They had a meeting and asked all the other schools about this whole thing, and A&M wasn't even included in it, I guess. So
is A&M really an SEC school? Like, are they really a member of the SEC, or are they just there? I actually think they're going to be pretty good this year. I do think they're going to be pretty good this year, but
that's a tough conference though.
Yeah. We'll let you know in about 15 years how this all ends up, but for now,
check back with us then.
For now, college football is about a month away. Like I said, about every conference had their media days this week. Logan, did you watch any of the Big Ten media day coverage?
I saw a little bit, clips here and there. I didn't watch anything live.
Yeah, I watched the start of it. So Big Ten does theirs in 2 days. Illinois was on the first day. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but Illinois was on the first day of it. I watched Kevin Warren speak, unimpressed by anything he said.
Referring to Illinois University?
Illinois University, yes. Great look there, Kevin, who he was actually on campus today. I saw Athletics just tweeted out that he was on campus, maybe learning the name of the school that in his conference. But other than that, I mean, I loved covering media days just for the experience and all the big names there, and getting like feeling cool, rubbing elbows with all the ESPNs and Fox personalities and all that stuff. But when it came down to it, it's like the most overrated thing in sports is media days.
Yeah.
It has no appeal to me. The only thing good about it is it means that we're really close to the season.
Yeah.
That's about the only positive.
I mean, what would you get a few sound bites to last you over for a week during your newscasts, and that's about it.
Yeah. Every local station got their one-on-one with the coach and each player. So we would break those down and make those last for a couple weeks. Lovey was always very good about coverage through training camp, so we didn't have to worry about, all right, we need to get as much as we can now because we're not going to be able to. Lovey was very accessible, and after every practice, you could get players and Lovey and any coach you wanted. Don't know how Bielema is doing it at Illinois, so maybe they did need to get a lot of content. We didn't even worry about the press conferences, like when they're at the podium in front of everybody. I mean, I think we recorded them in case they said something crazy, but I don't think we ever aired anything from those. I did do a story 2019, it would have been on Jim Delaney because it was his last year. So we did record that and did a story with him. But yeah, for the most part, and Brett would always say this, and it was a great idea, as many of Brett's ideas are. Media days would be good for local stations like in Champaign. If Illinois was good, you could go ask other schools about Illinois, and it made sense,
Yeah.
But with Illinois being so bad the last 10 years, like it didn't make sense to go ask Ryan Day from Ohio State, hey, what do you think about Illinois this year? I think we're going to beat them by 50. You know, that's what he would say. So if Illinois, if Bielema does get Illinois back to relevancy, then media days would work. But I just wanted to put it in the rundown here to let everyone know that it's the most overrated part of the college football season. So
please insert hot take graphic here.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think most
it's
media
probably
members
not.
agree.
Yeah.
It's good for work because it gives you something to cover and it gives you content, like plenty of content, but it's not good content. Everything is cliche and like, you don't know. Like you can say that, oh, we're practicing really well. Everyone says they're practicing really well. So
I never covered a Big Ten media day. I did have a couple Valley media days. I remember went up to Loyola. It was the first year of Loyola.
Yeah.
Joining the Valley. And we went up, a group of us did, because I think Hagstrom took his production crew up and they basically did a live stream of everything, had interviews and stuff. Like the Valley ran, and Chris's group did that. And I was doing the stuff with women's basketball. And so I went up and did that. I remember that. So
yeah,
they're a fun time, but I agree
they're
with
fun. You get to see a lot of people that you don't see a lot, like from other networks and other stations and stuff. But as far as information you get from them, there's just really not much.
And then you get sound bites from commissioners referring to schools by the wrong name. So
always something.
There's that too.
I hate on Kevin Warren a lot, but he was put in a very tough situation. So yeah.
For sure.
Change is coming to the MLB. Logan's favorite movie is now a baseball team. Logan's favorite Avengers movie. The team formerly known as the Cleveland Indians is going to be called the Cleveland Guardians starting in 2022. You shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head?
I don't know. I mean, I knew they were going to change the name at some point. It's funny that this was happening because I had just been, we've talked about MLB The Show on here, and I'm still playing it despite how much I hate franchise mode, but I had just started one with the Indians, and I was in my second or third season. Well, at the time they were still the Indians and I was playing as the Indians, and during the season I'm sitting here thinking like I should change the name. And what I was trying to do is, because one of my favorite places on earth is not far from Cleveland. It's called Cedar Point. It's an amusement park, a theme park, less than an hour away from Cleveland. And so I was trying to think of like what sort of roller coaster name could I tie into this? And I couldn't really think of one. And then like the very next day they announced that they're going to be the Guardians. So I don't know. I don't hate it. I was kind of pulling for the Spiders, but
as were a lot of people.
I think the Guardians, I'm fine with it. I was confused. I don't like when they bring in famous people to do voiceovers for that type of stuff that aren't actually from the city.
I thought that what sort
of connection does Tom Hanks have to the city of Cleveland? Like none. I looked it up. I went to his Wikipedia page and I searched Cleveland to see if it popped up anywhere. It came up like 4 times and it was nothing to do with like really anything about his life. So, but yeah, that's really my biggest takeaway. I don't hate it. Again, I was kind of pulling for the Spiders. I'm glad they didn't do anything rock and roll related, because I know that was some of the talk too. Did you read up as to why it's the Guardians? Did you see that whole thing?
I just watched the video.
Those two like statue type things that like they're the guardians of traffic, I guess. I don't know. Outside the ballpark. I'm not sure. Whatever. Cleveland Guardians. It's fine.
I like it because baseball is such a traditional old school sport, and this is so not that.
Yeah.
So I like it for that aspect. It's completely different. It is new age. It's like geared towards people our age and younger, I would say. So I like it for that aspect. I think it was interesting that the last 5 letters are the same. Like you can keep the
colors the same.
You can keep the left half of the jersey the same. Just change the right half. There was some. Oh, and I thought it was very. I keep saying interesting, and I hate using that word. That this came out before the Washington football team.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington football team has been looking at this forever. Not forever, because they put it off forever. They should have changed it a long time ago. But I wasn't expecting it. I was caught off guard. For once in my life, I actually had my phone like 20 feet away from me, and it went off. And I was like, I went and grabbed it, and I was like, whoa, what? Where did this come from? So I was very caught off guard, but I like it. I know it's getting a lot of hate, but I think it's fun. I think it's I don't know if fits is the right word. But I like the direction that they went with a new age, something very unique. A lot of my friends are saying it sounds like a high A minor league team name.
Yeah.
Which it kind of does, but those are fun. It's not like the Rubber Ducks.
There were some minor league teams that were having some fun with it. I saw the Sock Puppets. The Sock Puppets said something about having that being a strange name or something. Did you see though that there's already a Cleveland Guardians? Did you see this? No. Darren Novell tweeted about it. There's a roller derby team. The roller derby club in Cleveland is the Cleveland Guardians, and they already have like the Cleveland Guardians website domain name. They already have like the Instagram handle. Apparently whoever came up with this name didn't bother to like do a Google search or something. I don't know how that's going to go over, but
right. How do you not double check that?
I have no idea. And I haven't followed up on it. I don't know if there's been more to that story or not, but yeah, apparently there's already a Cleveland Guardians in the city of Cleveland.
Wow. Well, it won't be hard for the MLB Cleveland Guardians to buy all that stuff from the roller derby Cleveland Guardians.
No, I think they'll be fine.
Sticking with MLB trade deadline, is it the 31st? It's normally the 31st.
It's Friday.
Right? Friday.
Whatever date Friday is.
Cubs haven't done anything since Jock, right?
Jock. Yeah.
I saw you tweeted something last night. Is that not real?
No, it wasn't real. And I knew that, but what I said wasn't going to come off as that, so I just took it down. But yes, there was a fake Twitter account that was tweeting something about Craig Kimbrell last night that was getting picked up a lot. It got a lot of traffic. But that is another one. That was not true.
He had another one a couple days ago that got like thousands of retweets.
Well, I guess that same account was right about Adam Frazier too.
Okay.
But it was like right about the same time. So it's one of those things where just pulled it from whoever tweeted it first. And
gotcha.
I don't know. But yeah, nothing's happened so far. I'm wearing, nobody can really see it. I'm wearing my Anthony Rizzo shirt. I don't know what's going to happen with this team. I'm going to be heartbroken no matter what happens. I can already tell, but I'm going to be at Wrigley on Wednesday night. And I just hope I hope all three of them are still there. Don't know that they will be, but
so you don't count Contreras in that.
I don't think he's getting dealt this year.
Okay.
I don't.
So you're talking Rizzo, Baez, Bryant.
Yeah. Contreras' name is not coming up this year. I think he's too valuable to the Cubs to trade. It's Bryant, Baez, Rizzo. They're the three names that I keep hearing. Obviously Kimbrel, he's going to get dealt. That's inevitable, but that one doesn't break my heart. Some of the relievers are going to get dealt. Zach Davies is going to get dealt. Again, none of those are players that have been with the team and won a World Series and all that stuff. So I think Bryant is going to get dealt. I'm not so sure on the other two. I know Buster Olney said last night during Sunday Night Baseball that he thinks Anthony Rizzo is going to go to the Red Sox. I've heard other people like Tim Kirchin was on Olney's podcast this morning and basically said, yeah, I don't really think that's going to happen. So I don't know. We'll see. The Red Sox do want a left-handed hitting first baseman. It seemed, that definitely checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
If Jed goes to Rizzo and says, do you want to go to a contender? I'm sure he would do it for the right trade. But I don't know. I don't see it happening as probably as likely. I think Bryant will be traded, but I don't know. So far, not a lot. Adam Frazier did get dealt yesterday, as we mentioned, to the Padres.
Should have traded Bryant 2 months ago when his stock was MVP stock.
His stock has definitely gone down quite a bit. He's still playing well, but he's not playing at the MVP level that he was, as you said, a couple months ago.
Yeah. Cardinals picked up a reliever, TJ Zeich or something like that.
Are the Cardinals trying to contend, or are they going to sell? Do they have anybody to sell?
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no. Are we allowed to cuss on here? I'm not going to cuss because my dad watches. I'm not going to cuss. They have no one to sell. I mean, and I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching the game against Cincinnati, and like the lineup has some talent.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 7, 8. They have good major league quality hitters.
Yeah.
Like if you look at their everyday lineup, Carlson, Goldschmidt, Arenado, O'Neill, Edman, Bader, Yachty, and whoever, DeYoung. I mean, that is 8 major league hitters. They've proven they can hit in the major leagues. So when they're not hitting, what does that come down to?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the coach. You got to get rid of the hitting coach. But they have no arms. They have no healthy arms. Flaherty is on a rehab to tomorrow. So he's coming back. And that's kind of where the whole season turned around, was when Flaherty went out with the oblique. Yeah. Flaherty and Michaelis had his rehab. Actually, Michaelis pitched here in Louisville Saturday. But like I said, we were driving, so wasn't going to go to a game as soon as I got back to Louisville.
How far back are they?
Cardinals, 7, 8. I don't know what the Brewers have been doing.
Cardinals are 8 games back. The Reds are between them too.
Right. Who just took 2 out of 3 against St. Louis. So they're not contending. They just don't have pieces to sell to get better pieces. So they're in a tough spot. So the
Cardinals are 1 game in front of the Cubs, and the Cubs have been saying for weeks now they are sellers. Yeah. And the Cardinals are just kind of, But I think part of that's true. I don't think they have anybody to sell.
Right. And I'm pretty sure Mozeliak said last week, he's like, if we can find a piece to help this team this year, we're not scared to pull the trigger. I'm like, you need more than a piece, dude. Like you need Max Scherzer. You need that's how bad it is. You need Max Scherzer. You need, I don't know who else's pitchers are on the market, but either here or there, I don't think either of our teams are going to make the playoffs. So
no, they're not. I'm just really afraid, and I don't think this is going to happen. I'm just really afraid that the Cubs are going to try and do some sort of reload, and it's going to take, they're going to just give up for a couple years. And I don't think that's really how they should do it.
Yeah.
I think they have enough talent and enough money to, do what you got to do this year during the season before the deadline to, get yourself some pieces back. But I think the Cubs can, this is a very winnable division. This is not the Central, or this is not the West. I mean, it's not even the East, but I think the East is at its best. I mean, this is a very winnable division. So I'm going to be upset if the Cubs don't seem to want to try to win next year, because it really hasn't felt like they've tried to win in the offseason the last few years. So we'll just have to see. But
yeah, like you mentioned, Adam Frazier, really the only big piece to move. I expect the Pirates will make a couple more moves before it's all said and done. Browsing through Twitter here, making sure that nothing broke while we were talking. Eloy Jimenez is back for the White Sox.
Yeah.
So good news for them already. The rich get richer there. So yeah, let's move on to NBA Finals are complete. Giannis and his Bucks in 6, take the NBA Finals. Admittedly, I was moving a lot, so I didn't get to watch much. Did you watch? I was able to watch most of Game 6.
I watched most of 6 and most of 7.
There wasn't 7.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. I watched most of 5 and most of 6.
Okay.
That's what it was. Going into that series, I wasn't really sure where that would go. Because Giannis's health was the issue at the beginning, and I think that's what I said on the show. Is like, if Giannis isn't healthy, like I don't think the Bucks have a shot.
Yep.
But he played, and he played well.
Yeah.
So I felt for the Suns. I mean, they've had quite the run the last year. From the bubble last year all the way through this season, and then through this playoffs, they've been untouchable. But Giannis was a load
Yeah.
for them in the finals.
And it wasn't just Giannis. I think that's why they won it. It was because he did his thing, but Middleton and Drew Holiday played outstanding as well. And I think Drew Holiday is why they won the championship.
Yeah.
He played so good the last 4 games because the Suns won the first 2 and then Milwaukee won the next 4 to win it. And Chris Paul, for as dire as he wants a championship, he didn't play very well.
No.
And it was because Drew Holiday, because they put Drew Holiday on him. It was tough to watch as a semi diehard Suns fan. I do like the team. I think that they do have a couple more years left in them. Don't know if Chris Paul's coming back because he is a free agent. He's a free agent, right? I think he's a free agent.
I think so, yeah.
Don't know if he's coming back. I know there's been talks about him going to the Lakers, but it was an epic performance from the Bucks and specifically Giannis. Like,
yeah,
that cements him as one of the best of our lifetime, of our generation, of this era. 2 MVPs, NBA champ now, NBA Finals MVP. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's so young, and to not have that "have you won a championship" thing hanging over him for the rest of his career.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be huge. Just ask Chris Paul.
Yep.
I mean, Chris Paul has been one of the best players in the NBA the last, decade and a half, and everything about his legacy hasn't won a title.
Yep.
I mean, it sucks. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, there's plenty of great players that haven't won titles, but for Giannis to be able to do that at a young age and not have to worry about that anymore. He said he wanted to stay in Milwaukee and bring a title to Milwaukee, and he didn't have to do it with a super team. I mean, I think that's another factor here too. He
said that in the postgame.
I mean, granted, this season had a lot of issues. This playoffs had a lot of issues, a lot of injuries. I'm certainly not giving an asterisk to this finals, but there is something to be said about that. I mean, it was a little different, but still, I mean, hats off to him and to the Bucks. I mean, it was good to see that. So we'll have to see what happens. I hate being Devin Booker, having to get on that plane a couple days later with Middleton and Drew Holiday to fly to Tokyo, and then get beat by France. Devin Booker's having a rough time here.
I think not what'll stick with me, but one of the things that I'll remember from Game 6, I don't know if you saw it after the game, all the confetti's coming down and the Bucks are celebrating, and ESPN cuts to a shot of Booker like standing right in front of the Suns bench, and you see him like untuck his jersey and just kind of look up and look around, and obviously you can't hear him, but you see his mouth just go, damn, and then he just walks off. I was like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
They're good. He's good. I think he's got a chance to be back, but you never know with that league. I mean, there could be another super team for him here in the West, and who knows, the Lakers might, if they stay healthy and get a couple pieces around LeBron and AD, I mean, it's going to be tough to get through them again. So
do you remember what I said after the Suns took a 2-0 lead?
No.
I said something along the lines of, if Giannis doesn't win it this year, is Milwaukee ever going to put the pieces around him to do it? And then they won 4 in a row.
Yep.
It's kind of like when I tweeted something about Andre Curbelo, and then he went on to average a triple-double through the end of the year.
I think there's a better chance that Curbelo saw your tweet than there is that Giannis saw your tweet.
Me and Giannis are tight. We're tight.
I'm sure.
Speaking of NBA, the draft is this week. I believe Friday. Is that right?
Yeah.
Friday?
Yeah. Is it Friday?
I think it's
whatever.
Friday.
29th. I don't know. It's either, I think
Thursday
it's Thursday.
Thursday or Friday.
Thursday.
Detroit has the number 1 pick, Houston 2, Cleveland 3, Toronto 4, Orlando 5. Io Dosumu, former Illini, still in first round talks. I've seen him anywhere from the last 10 picks of the first round to the first 4 or 5 of the second round. ESPN has him going 32 to the Knicks right now. I saw one that had him going, it was actually 29 to the Suns. replacement for Chris Paul, potentially. So that's definitely something to look out for. The one I'm looking at right now, which I don't know that I trust too much, NBADraft.net has him going 22nd to the Lakers, which that would be pretty sick. So Io definitely going to get drafted. Just a matter of if it's first or second round. You think his name's announced first 30?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think
too.
he goes in the first round. I hope he is, and I think he will be. I would hate to see him drop to the second. Not that that's necessarily a terrible thing, but there's a lot of money to be had there. But I would think he's a first round guy. We'll see. Crazier things have happened. I thought it was locked and loaded that Cade Cunningham was going number 1, but I saw Woj tweet today that the Pistons don't seem to sound like they know what they're doing yet. So
he's going.
That could be. I'm sure he is, but that was the misdirection at least that they're trying to say that they're still looking into the other two too.
Yeah.
So
Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley are the 3 names that Woj tweeted out that Detroit's looking for. It's Cade Cunningham. I mean, come on. You can't be that stupid. There was something else I was going to ask here. Oh, we were talking about Io. I kind of like the fact that he's in that late first round conversation because he's going to likely go to a winner. He's going to go to a Lakers or a Nuggets or Nets or 76ers or Suns or Jazz. Now, in those last 10 picks, you do have 2 picks by the Rockets. And there was one other, like the Knicks are 21. Although the Knicks did have a great year this year, I don't know that that's a franchise you want to go to right now.
No.
So 8 of the last 10 picks are winning franchises right now who are in win now mode, which would be good for Io. He wouldn't have to come in as a first round pick and take over. Although we know that Io is capable of doing that, as we saw from Illinois. So let's look up and make sure we know when this draft is. I think you might be right. I think it's normally Thursdays.
Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Normally the draft's on a Thursday. So the 29th. I'm assuming it'll be on ESPN for those of you that
ABC, I think.
Did they move it to ABC?
Both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, whatever. ESPN, ABC, it's one and the same. The other basketball note, and we don't have it on our rundown, but I figured we should at least mention it. The House of Paign, first round exit in the TBT. They were the 2 seed in their region. Painful. Yes. Mock headlines, Brooklyn Fritzy. Luckily we were driving back to Louisville during that game. So I didn't get to watch any of it. I was just following the tweets. And oh my gosh. I mean, we were all hyped up for this roster, but when I got to thinking about it, and it hurt that Andres Feliz he wasn't able to play because of, I think I saw visa issues getting him back to the States. So that hurt because that dude, he's a winner, as you can see in his 2 years at Illinois. Yeah. So that hurt. But then you brought in Brandon Paul and you brought in Dimitri McCamey, who both played like dog doo-doo. I think Paul scored 7 points maybe. So early round exit.
It was ugly.
The game was played in Peoria. It was the Illinois region. Had all the fans. Most of the men's basketball team was there. A lot of orange and blue. A lot of the current players were there. They interviewed Kofi, who was courtside. Just a bad showing. Just a bad showing. Lost to the Jackson, Tennessee underdogs. No basketball anymore this summer for us.
I was looking forward to that. I did. It was ugly. It was sloppy, and you could tell. I mean, is Andres Feliz a good enough player to make a difference? I mean, he sure was last year at this tournament. So I don't know. I mean, Brandon Paul hardly showed up. He was 1 for 7 from the field. Mike Daum didn't do a whole lot. They had 8 guys on the roster. I'm pretty sure they played 6 deep in the second half. I don't know that.
I think I saw a tweet that only 6 people played the second half.
Skipper touched the floor in the second half. I don't know. Yeah, I was excited about this roster getting, Brandon Paul and McCamey in there, just, as the line eye guy and, a couple, pros and everything, but they didn't look good. They didn't look good from the get-go.
So Logan Lee is the new GM of House of Paign for the
Oh,
2022 TBT. What one realistic player are you throwing your checkbook at to come play it for House of Paign? I put him on the spot here. We did not prepare for this, so he's thinking deep in thought.
Oh my goodness. I had a name that came to mind, and I'm not going to say that.
It's a tough question because I would have thought Brandon Paul was it, but
yeah,
I mean,
he's the one. There's another one that's had some NBA
I don't think he's playing
and failure. So I don't think
Darren Williams is coming to play in the TBT.
That's not the other name I was going to say.
That one. Yeah,
thinking a much taller one.
I mean, he might need some work next year, so
he might
come and play.
I don't know. I mean, obviously you're trying to get me to say an Illinois guy. I don't know who it is. I mean, if you think back to that 05 team, like that's too long ago. So none of those guys are coming. And ever since then, it's not like Illinois they've had the best players that have come through Illinois pretty much were on that team. So
I think Malcolm Hill needed to be on that team.
Yeah, he would help.
Yeah,
he would help. And he was another one they had planned to have. And he had ended up getting something else with a summer league.
Oh, I didn't see.
I
didn't see anything.
I think so.
I just thought that he turned them down, or they didn't ask him this year.
I don't know. I think they asked him because I was listening to Mike LaTulip was on Jeremy Werner's podcast, and I had listened to that last week before the tournament started. I think they said that Malcolm was in the mix, but he training camp. I don't know. He had some other commitment that came up. They had several players like that they had on the roster and ended up not getting. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it was definitely disappointing after the run they had last year.
Yep. Early round exit for House of Paign. We'll hopefully see him again next year at the TBT. Final professional sports nugget here. Looks like Aaron Rodgers he's going to play this year.
For the Packers.
For the Packers. Yes. No retirement.
No jeopardy yet.
Just this afternoon. Let me get to Shefty's tweets here. It sounds like Rodgers and the Packers have come to some sort of agreement for him to play this season. And the wording of this made me giggle. Packers are offering concessions and are close to an agreement that would bring Aaron Rodgers back to Green Bay for at least this season. Sources tell ESPN. Deal not done, but is close. That's from Adam Schefter. So I was like, concessions? Are they like
good hot dogs?
Are they giving like extra good hot dogs or something? So yeah, I still don't think a deal is done. But it basically they're reworking his contract so he can be a free agent, or he can basically dictate where he's going to play next year because he's not going to play for the Packers.
No.
Did you see him and Devontae Adams' Insta story?
Yep. Michael and Scotty.
A couple nights ago, where the picture that ESPN used for the last dance of Michael and Scotty. And I mean, now thinking about it, reading between the lines, that's saying that this is their last year in Green Bay. Yeah. Like they're both going to go their separate ways. So
yeah,
I thought he was going to retire. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't think he was going to retire. I didn't buy into that narrative. I can understand where probably that's coming from. I just didn't really think that was going to happen. But good for him. That was his best shot to win a Super Bowl, to stay in Green Bay. That's the Packers' best shot to win a Super Bowl, is to keep him there. So, they'll give it one more ride and then see what happens after that. What is it about the NFL that they don't want to keep their star quarterbacks in their cities and then they let them go somewhere else and then they win a Super Bowl somewhere else? Is this just a recent thing with this generation, or
it has to be? Because
I guess Favre didn't win a Super Bowl somewhere else, but he went elsewhere and still had a career after that. Peyton Manning went elsewhere. Tom Brady's gone elsewhere. Aaron Rodgers Rodgers is going to go elsewhere.
But think of before Favre. Troy Aikman was only a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
Dan Marino was only a Miami
Right.
Dolphin. Did Steve Young play somewhere else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Joe Montana played in Kansas City. So it was Joe Montana left and went somewhere else. But like, yeah, it was like a Brett Favre, like that time frame started where, you know, he had enough of Green Bay, but he still thought he could play. So he went to somewhere else.
I mean, the three quarterbacks of this generation are all going to end up doing that. And I mean, I don't know if he'll win a Super Bowl somewhere else, but you know, the only one that really didn't is Breeze. I mean, Breeze stayed and retired with the Saints. So,
but he did start with the Chargers. He did.
He did start somewhere else. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think that's interesting that, you know, you have these players that are there for so long and they don't keep them. And
I think it's just a society thing. Cause how many professional leagues in general do the stars stay in one place? Like any of the big stars you think of now most of them have moved at least a couple times.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So it's one of those things that Cardinal fans they brought it up when Pujols was a free agent in 2011. So at Busch Stadium, they've got the big Stan Musial statue, you know, and then they've got like 12 or 15 other smaller statues over in another entrance. And it was always like, do you want a statue next to Stan, or do you want a statue next to these other guys who have not always been Cardinals, but they had like 7 or 8 good Cardinal years? So it's one of those things where do you want your legacy to be at one place and have this massive statue of you, or do you want it to be over there with the other guys that left and whatever? And
there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I just think it's interesting that, you know, the 3 quarterbacks of this generation, I mean, that's how the story has gone for all of them.
Yep.
So,
yep. There was something else I was going to say. Now I forgot. Either or. Olympics. You watch any yet?
Yeah, I've watched a little bit. Watched some swimming last night.
That's fun. I love watching swimming.
It is, man. I did not watch the men's basketball team fall to France.
Oof.
I have some thoughts, though, even though I didn't watch it, about that situation. But in terms of the Olympics as a whole, yeah, I've watched some here and there. It's been on at work, and I've caught some stuff. I enjoy watching it. I've never been like super into the Olympics as an entity, but I enjoy watching it. Absolutely.
It's been tough, I think, this year because Tokyo doesn't have the fans there,
right?
Because of their COVID outbreak. And I've said it a couple times watching it. It's just not the same. And I know we said that about sports last year in America when there were no fans there, that it's not the same. But I think the fans are a lot of what makes the Olympics is the fans. Because the athletes, have their flag, and then you cut to the crowd shot and everyone's waving the flag of their nation, and the celebrations are geared towards the fans and all that stuff. And it's just not there.
Yeah.
So it's been tough. I have watched, it's been on our TV since it started. We always find something to watch. But I'm not getting into it. Albeit swimming was getting into it with the Ledecky race last night, Sunday night, against the Titmus from Australia. Swimming is one of my favorites. Gymnastics. I think Biles is performing tonight, Monday night, I think, or maybe tomorrow morning.
Well, I don't know. I was just watching. It would have been a replay earlier today of her from must have been last night. So
and that's been tough too, because a lot of times what we're watching is the replay, and it's just not the same because we've likely seen what happened on Twitter. Which I was just telling Christy today while we were at lunch. It kind of sucks for the athletes because these swimmers are swimming these races at 7 a.m. because that's prime time in America.
Right.
When it's 7 a.m. in Tokyo. So their whole routines are thrown off just so we can watch them in prime time, which I feel bad for them, but it's been fun. I think the U.S. last I looked, U.S. was leading the medal counts. I don't have it pulled up, but what's your favorite? Is it swimming?
Yeah, probably in the summer games for sure. I'd say that. Yeah.
I like track and field too.
That's fair.
China's leading with medals right now, 18. U.S. has 14.
I read about John Rahm?
Oh my
tested
God.
positive for
Yes.
COVID again.
Yes.
Did I
I
read
forgot
that?
about that.
Did I imagine this?
No, he did.
Is this real?
Yes, it is real. John Rahm tested positive for COVID again, so he is out of the Olympics. So is Bryson DeChambeau for the U.S., which the Rahm thing, I'm like, what? Apparently he got both shots after his first incident with it. So apparently he is vaccinated now, but
you can still get it.
Exactly.
I mean, that doesn't stop it, but
right. So yeah,
like,
John Rahm is
wow.
out of the Olympics, and so is Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think golf starts this week. I think women are first and then the men. But yeah, what a turn of events for him. What a summer it's been. We're going long here, so let's get going here. Logan watched Space Jam. Is it Space Jam 2? Is it
Space Jam A New Legacy?
A New Legacy.
Craig.
Okay.
Space Jam A New Legacy.
And how was it? Oh.
Listen, okay. And I've seen the people on Twitter and on the social media saying it's a kids movie, kids are going to enjoy it, yada yada. That's fine, but I watch a lot of kids movies and they're a heck of a lot better than what that movie is. I didn't expect it to be great. I'm not trying to say that the original Space Jam is like the greatest movie of all time. It's a movie for our generation, and this movie might end up being a great one for this generation of kids too. I'm not here to say that, but I was giving LeBron the benefit of the doubt because I had seen him act before. He was excellent in Trainwreck. He was great in that movie. So I was thinking, okay, maybe he can do this. He can't. He was awful. He was awful as an actor. Like just terrible. Like again, I get it. It's a kids movie. I'm sure there are kids that will enjoy this movie, and I'm sure there's some LeBron people that, oh, it's the greatest thing. No, it's not. It's just it was bad. And the basketball itself was weird. I mean, I get why they did it. It was like a video game type of storyline, which was fine. It had some moments. There was one moment in particular, which you haven't seen the movie, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, but there is a certain cameo that happens towards the end of the movie that I did enjoy. I did laugh when Bill that Murray? Happened. It is not Bill Murray. It is not Bill Murray. If you want to know after the show, I'll be more than happy to tell you. But it is far and away the best part about the movie. So if you are going to watch it, not at the very end, but it's towards the end. Okay. If you are going to watch the movie, I would just recommend watching it and don't listen to me tell you what it is. But it's just it's fine if you're just looking to kill a couple hours, but it is too long. Every movie anymore is too long. But LeBron just I was expecting more as an actor from him, and it just wasn't very good. And he didn't have a lot of acting chops around him either. It's not like they brought in a bunch. I mean, Don Cheadle is hamming it up on screen for a couple hours. Like, okay, that's fine. It was a lot of HBO and Warner Brothers properties that they crammed into this movie too. Like, it is so much. I mean, obviously you have the Looney Tunes, but on top of that, they're going to different universes. They touch on Harry Potter and DC, and during the game, you can see like Game of Thrones characters and the Matrix and like every property that WB and HBO own, like were in this movie. So I'm not going to tell you as a sports fan to not watch this movie, but don't expect it to be much of anything.
So LeBron's acting is more like a Richard Jefferson and not a LeBron James.
Sure. Yes.
Like a role player.
I mean, no, he's the star of the show.
Right, but the quality of it, like,
but yeah,
he shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. No.
Like he was good in his role as not the star in Trainwreck.
Sure, yes, that's fair. Okay. I enjoyed him in Trainwreck, and so that's what I was going off of when people would say, "Oh, this movie's gonna suck." I'm like, let's give it a chance. Like, LeBron actually has acted before. He was the worst part of the movie. Like, It was just bad.
How was Bugs?
It's fine. They're Looney Tunes. They're wacky. I didn't really love a lot of the things they did in the movie. Again, I'm not going to tell a sports fan that enjoys movies not to watch this movie. I'm sure most of you that have wanted to watch this movie already have. But in my mind, it was worth it just for the one cameo alone. That was fine. Like if that's all I got out of it, okay, that's cool. But yeah,
So
I don't even remember how many stars I gave it.
That's what I was going to ask. The lowest review you've given on this show is a 3.5.
Oh, it's my lowest of the year for sure. Whatever this one was. Let me look. Bear with me. I don't have it pulled up.
It's so bad that he doesn't remember what he gave it.
I gave it a 2.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5, which is low for me. Which is low for me. I don't give much lower than that. So,
what's the worst movie you've ever reviewed?
Oh goodness.
Maybe not reviewed, but when I say what's the worst movie ever, what pops into your head?
Since I've been doing this, my least favorite movie of all time is Little Nicky, but I don't think that
Adam
That
Sandler.
count. I love Sandler. Hate Little Nicky.
Wow.
Let's see. Just for record keeping, since I've been doing this in 2017, I can give you an answer here. I'm gonna do this. This is great content right here, folks.
Stick with us here, guys. We're almost done.
We're almost there. But Craig asked, and now I want to know the lowest movie I have given a score to since I've started doing this.
Oh gosh.
I don't even know if you saw this movie. It's called The Circle.
No.
Did you see this
it's
one?
It's a TV show, right?
Not the same thing. The Circle had Tom Hanks and Emma Watson in it. Like I was like super excited for this movie. It came out in 2017. Like not that like it was only like 5 years ago. It was really bad. It was really bad. It got a 1 star for me.
1 star. Okay.
So yeah, Space Jam is better. I would say, okay, Space Jam, sure, better than that if you want to say it, but I don't know that it really is. So
final thing on the docket.
That's that.
Big Brother, another week down. Frenchie goes home this week. Very deservedly. He might be one of the worst players I've ever seen in my 4 years watching.
That was
just
a bad
complete train wreck from him in his HOH week, and then obviously was put on the block in week 2 by Kyland, and it wasn't unanimous. He got 1 vote for to stay, but he went home very easily last week. Just nothing good about his game, in my opinion. Xavier won HOH for this week. I have not seen Sunday night's episode, but I do know who is on the block. Logan, do you want to recap? Let people know where we're at.
Yeah. So
you said you had some things you wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, no, it's fine. I'll talk about it a little bit. The couple biggest things from that episode that I took away. So they started with Xavier, getting the HOH, and him kind of having meetings with people and meeting with his he's in a couple big alliances plus his own team and everything. The plan for the week, at that point, at least, has been to get Brent out. So that was the strategy, was to get Brent out. It was a matter of who they're going to put up with them. They wanted it to be Whitney, but they're also on the same team, so they were trying to avoid that. Then they did the wild card competition, which Brittany played in because Brittany wanted to save herself because she was on the block last week. She played against Tiffany and Derek X. Derek X and Tiffany basically teamed up against Brittany, which Brittany was not very happy about. And then essentially I'm giving you everything from the week. I hope you don't care, from Sunday's episode. But then Xavier was having his talks about who he's going to put up next to Brent. And he said he wanted to put Brittany up. And then he had a talk with Azza, who defended Brittany to the grave. I do not want her up. I don't want to put her through that again, even as a pawn. That's just not fair for her to do that again. And he ultimately puts her up anyway. Azza even volunteered herself to go on the block, and Xavier wouldn't do it. My thing here with Brittany is the type of player who, for now, until she goes home, will probably be on the block every week.
Yeah.
She's not really aligned with anybody all that well. She's likable, but she's also kind of a threat socially. They're not really sure about her, and she's never going to be the target. but she's also not somebody that they're going to be afraid to lose if they have to lose her.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's necessarily on the radar to be a target in the next few weeks, but I think she's probably going to end up being on the block a lot, and she's going to have to get used to it because she was devastated the first week and she was devastated the second week. I don't know what's happened in the house, if she pulled herself off or not. I have no idea. But that she's just going to have to get used to that, because unless she starts to get really strongly aligned with somebody, it's probably going to be the case.
Yeah, she just didn't really get in any alliances because she thought her team was enough.
Yeah.
And so she was aligned with Frenchie. And then the whole Frenchie thing happened. And when Kylan gave her the option to kind of get herself away from Frenchie, she doubled down and was like, I'm loyal to my team. And I think that's what hurt her.
The team thing, I don't love. And it's already has plenty of cracks. There's already players that are throwing their own teammates under the bus and trying to get their own teammates out. And I mean, whatever. Big Brother's always trying to do different twists and stuff every season, but the teams thing, I think I'm ready for them to just get rid of that. Like, this is done. We don't need to do this anymore. So there you go. That's your Sunday recap and my thoughts on the Brittany situation.
I'm kind of surprised at the noms. I didn't know who Xavier was going to put up. I didn't have any really ideas, but I did not think it would be Brittany and Brent.
You'll see it when you watch Sunday's show. Basically the entire house wants Brent out. Okay. That was especially the edit they gave.
I was gonna say, because he, based on the episodes, he's kind of hasn't really done anything, so he must be doing stuff around the house.
He's not very well liked. Doesn't seem like. So that's kind of why it's kind of like unanimous. Like the house wants him out, but he doesn't seem to know that, at least as far as Sunday show goes. Xavier is trying to make it seem like he's the pawn, when in reality he's not. But
interesting.
So there you go.
All right. Another hour, 10+ minute show. Logan was excited coming in. How do you feel it went? Are you still on that buzz?
I love college realignment. I love it, man.
It reminds me of NCAA football 14.
Yeah.
Where you could make the conferences whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And I still have the document saved on my phone of how I would make the conference. Every dynasty I created, I had the 6 power conferences, each had 12 teams, and it was perfect. And I love it.
And before we go, and while we're on it, I had mentioned how I don't like how it affects football controls everything.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I don't like in all this is, and I've said it before, I just hate how the smaller schools are just not a factor. Like in any of this stuff. I mean, I understand that, the FCS is a whole different thing than the FBS, but I'm not even talking about FCS schools. I'm talking about the non-Power 5 schools, the MAC schools, even the AAC, like those schools that just aren't a factor in this. And it sucks for them. Like, in my opinion, like we've talked about this in terms of the playoff, like, I mean, if we go to 12 teams, they'll at least have a shot, but I don't know. It just seems like all these decisions are made because of money, and those big schools are who makes the money. So I understand that, but I just feel bad for some of those schools when some of this stuff happens, because there's not much they can do about it. But they're there, like they are Division I institutions playing football. Some of them better than others, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the money and where the money's coming from. So anyway, that's that.
I think it's a good place to end.
Probably, yeah.
You got anything else?
No, I didn't turn my light on. How do I look?
You look fabulous. I've got a window and 2 lights now. So
that's wonderful.
Extra lit. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. However you're consuming the show, we appreciate it. Share it, retweet it, get it out there. We need some more listeners and people to message us. Let us know what you want to talk about. Give us topics, something. So hit us up on social media. Like, follow, subscribe. He is Logan Lee. I'm Craig Choate. That's episode 23 of No One Asked Us. We will see you again next week.
I'm a couple days late, but Merry Christmas in July. Bye.